YouTubers, what's going on? East US Finest, hosted by Mike. Sorry about that. Excuse me 1 second. This video is out of the norm. This video is basically giving a shout out and a rest in peace to Michael K. Williams. I don't know if anybody remembers some of my older videos where I was basically talking a little bit about, you know, me and my wife acknowledging and knowing him. We knew him and his mom. We lived in a place back in 2002-ish or so. It was the area of Flatbush. And in this area of Flatbush, there was, back in the 60s and 70s, before a lot of, not to be disrespectful, but before a lot of West Indians came through, and, you know, a lot of from the 60s and 70s, there were a lot of blacks, minorities, Caucasians, who lived in this. It was a really good, like, B and C class neighborhood. They had security. They had doors you had to be buzzed in and announced before you could walk in on the facility grounds. It was basically a 4-block radius. Now, when I say that, 1 block, if you're looking at a helicopter view, it would be 1 block here, then across the street would be the other block, then across that other street would be that block and this block. So it was basically two long, like 2 or 3 block long blocks. I can't really explain it, but, you know, that's how a lot of parts of Brooklyn is. Like, you know, some places are like 2 blocks long. And there was a lot of courtyards, as we call them, in a place called Vanderveer. Now, Vanderveer, in the 80s and 90s, it became a war zone. Even up to like early 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, they were still finding like skeletons and stuff in a lot of areas of Vanderveer. You know, it was Jewish owned, and it got dropped. You know how they do in their community. Things get anyway, things go from one family member to another, and, you know, because they're always fighting court cases and stuff, so it gets, you know, inherited from this person and that person to keep. Anyway, that's a whole different story. But anyhow, this is a very crazy area, and it was called Vanderveer. And, you know, it basically started from, well, one side of it started like literally about 30 feet from Nostrand Avenue. So basically from Nostrand to Brooklyn Avenue, from Newkirk to almost Farragut Road, you had this big facility, almost like projects. They were real short buildings, six stories high. 1, 2, 3, no. 1. Wait. 1, 2. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 5 apartments per floor. And I'm trying, was it 6 buildings? Was it 6 floors or 4 floors? I think it was actually 4 or 5 floors. I don't think it was actually 6. Some buildings may have had 6. But, you know, I'm just trying to give you guys the breakdown on this area. And it was brutal. It was crazy, especially in the 80s and 90s. It was almost a war zone. Today, it's actually called Flatbush Gardens. You know, they finally got some people who decided to realized that there was an up-and-coming better neighborhood. It was basically turning around almost to how it was in the 60s and 70s. And they actually fixed up and put a nice community around there, like about 4 to 6 blocks down. You know, you have the gate, you know, you have, I'm about to say Gateway Mall. You have the Target built up there. A lot of clothing shops and stuff. Always been on Nostrand and at the junction. There's 2 junctions in Brooklyn. You got the Flatbush Junction, and you got the East New York Junction. It's not really East New York. It's like East New York, Ocean Hill, Brownsville, whatever. But that junction is basically where the A train, the J, the C, and the L train meets. And if you walk a block down, you have the Long Island Railroad. But you have to walk a block down to get to the Long Island Railroad. So it's not really adjacent to those trains that I just mentioned. But that's on East New York Avenue. Basically like Van Sinderen and Fulton Street / Broadway. It's kind of complicated if you can't visualize or understand what I'm talking about. And then you have the Flatbush Junction, which is basically only 2 train lines that share the same track. The 2 train and the 5 train. But you have Brooklyn College, and then you have like a whole mess of buses, in this area. So that's the Flatbush Junction. And that's only a couple blocks, about 4 to 5 blocks away from Vanderveer. Now, Vanderveer is in the East Flatbush area of Brooklyn. East-north, actually, because it sits going back toward the city or / downtown Brooklyn. Now, actually, that would probably be west-north, whatever. East Flatbush, west-north, whatever way you look at it. So anyway, how many buildings? I don't know. Probably about 13 or more. But since, I would say since around 2006, 7-ish, it started, they started kicking a lot more deadbeats, welfare people out. They started getting more people that work, and they start fixing the place around. They start putting cameras. They actually hired retired and off-duty police officers and guys of high military and police standard to walk around, and they walk the grounds. They got rid of a lot of drugs. They've actually they personally handcuffed and locked up a lot and had a lot of convictions there. And of course, you still have a lot of dirt, a lot of buildings, and it's a cat and mouse game. They were a very small force, but a lot of people had a lot of influence. I don't know what is with this Harburn. A lot of influence with I already forgot the precinct that patrolled that area or whatever. But they had cameras everywhere. It got to the point where they start opening up old garages underground, etc., etc. But anyhow, back in 2003, 3-ish or so, 2002 and 3, one building at the corner of Forster and Brooklyn. So actually, I forgot Vanderveer. I forgot the block after Brooklyn. There's another block further down where the other houses were. That's not Brooklyn. But anyway, it wasn't Brooklyn. That's Forster and now I can't remember. New York Avenue. Oh my God. So at the corner of Forster and New York, there was this one building right in front of the. They called it the mailbox building. Some people, whatever, because there was a mailbox right in front where everybody, will put their little mail to be sent out, the blue mailbox, whatever. So that building was where they had a laundry room. Now, I felt bad for people that didn't have washing machines and dryers, because that place is brutal. But they actually had a mail room down there where you can mail packages out as well. They opened that up like around 2006 or so. But in that building, Miss Williams, Mike's mom, she was a heavyset woman. She did not play. She was not about BS. But, being in that kind of environment for all them years and being a registered daycare director and running a daycare in that environment, you can only imagine the people deal with. And, we had our kids at the time. There was no Isaiah. He didn't exist. There was Michelle and Mikey, and we enrolled them both in her daycare. Her daycare was very, very well sought after. It was hard to get in. They really didn't deal with working people like that. They dealt with a lot of people with vouchers and stuff, but she did make exceptions because I think they got more money and it was a lot more steady dealing with people in programs than a lot of people who work. Go figure. I guess because some people, played the games. I don't really know, but You know, the mom was very tough. I had respect for the mother as well as my wife, but my wife Marjorie got along better with the son than she did the mom. I got along with both of them on an equal level. I guess the mom saw, I don't know. I guess it was the name because my name is Michael. Her son's name is Michael. My Mike Jr. was Michael. They all had a good. She had a good rapport with them. My wife and my kids were well mannered, especially my children. So Michael took a liking to them, and made him talk a lot because I said, hey, as a matter of fact, on the side, I've done a couple of things with Michael Amata through my friend Robert. At the time, my friend Robert, he actually did a lot of work with the Michael Amata acting agency, which Michael Amata himself did have a lot of clients under him. Like he had Michael Wong, which was a martial artist who he did work on. He did a lot of work in a lot of martial art movies. He also was the guy who played in Wesley Snipes' Blade Part 2. Like in the beginning of the movie when Blade is looking for Whistler, and after he goes into that club and he spares that one vampire's life, but in the alley there was a scene where he blocked off the guys on a motorcycle in the beginning of the movie, and they couldn't go nowhere because his charger was in the way, and there was a one Chinese guy who was on a motorcycle. And I think Blade used that wrist thing and it cut his head off. Or he tried to, and I think he kind of I forgot exactly what he did. I think he actually did something where he jumped up in the air and did that aerial Rabian and came down on his seat with the guy and used like that silver piano string thing to cut his head off. Anyway, that's Michael Wong. I probably got the last name wrong. wrong. But Michael Amata was his. He did work through Michael Amata's agency as well as the guy. I forgot the brother's name. He basically played the father to Tamok, which is Tamok is the dude that played Bruce Leroy in The Last Dragon. Big Dad. Directed your pizza to Biggie. No, directed your pizza to Daddy Green's Pizza. So he played Mr. Green's. He played Mr. Green. Jesus, I can't think. I just got so much emotions and so many things going on in my head. It's hard for me to speak. I am tired, but that's not why I'm having these verbal and brain farts. But anyway, me and Michael used to always talk about that, and he's like, yeah, I'm into acting and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yo, this guy is amazing, and it's like. A lot of people always look at a person's physical, visual appearance, and I'm not like that. I mean, I'm born and raised in East New York, Brooklyn. I look at individuals. I look beyond physical because a person can look crazy on the outside, be burnt up as a crisp, whatever, and be the sweetest person inside. Then you got somebody who can walk around looking like Brad Pitt and be like Jason fucking Voorhees and Freddie mixed together inside. You never know. Now, Michael did, he was a dark-skinned brother, very well-spoken, but he had a threatening ghetto look to him. And then, then that cut going across his face didn't make it any better. But when you got to have a conversation with this guy was like very articulate, very soft-spoken, he was just a very good guy, man. I mean, this dude was phenomenal. He was just, the things that me and my wife got done, the care that his mom and him took. He actually worked for his mom in his daycare while he was still trying to pursue an acting career. This was way before the reboot of RoboCop and The Wire. This is a guy that I sit back and I look at him. I look at his roles, and I'm like, yo, I knew this guy. Like this guy, mom babysitted. I mean, she babysitted my kids, and I've had conversations with this dude. Like. We sat back and had a lot of talk. And I'm like, yo, it's just amazing how small the world is. And the reason why I'm bringing up all this, because it hurts. Because I'm like, yo, I seen this guy when he was before he was up and coming. Because he worked with his mom in Flatbush, Brooklyn, in the daycare center. Like, this guy was her to-go-to guy. He was a person his mom could rely on. And, he was a big role in his mom's daycare over here in Vanderbilt. And the reason why I'm bringing up all this is because it's just to give you guys trying to give you guys a visual of. I mean, I can't even. I can't believe he's dead. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I don't personally know any celebrity person that I personally knew that had an impact on my life and my family and my children's life that made it and got somewhere where he knew, met, and have a lot of respect from the industry. And then, this person is gone. Like, I grew up like everybody else, loving and being part, having a part to do with Michael Jackson's music and knowing where I was when I first heard this song. I mean, it's different when you grow up with and around actors, actresses, comedians, musicians, and whoever. But when you knew a person, like, I mean, I'm not going to sit back and say, yo, we hung out and, we broke bread and drunk beers together. And, he invited me to some parts and shows and this and that. No, but I knew him on a personal level outside of the industry before he got up there. And this guy was such a great, like, this dude was a gentleman. He probably looked like your average threatening thug, but this guy was, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tarnish what's going on. I just say, rest in peace to him, and my condolences go out to the Williams family. But Michael K. Williams was an outstanding guy. I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I personally don't believe that he died of a drug overdose. I just don't see it. I don't see how a guy who grew up in the environment he grew up, had a strong-willed parent. And I knew his mom, like me and my wife, like his mom was no joke. This woman was a straight, like this woman would, I mean, she called a spade a spade. I don't see a guy like that growing up, being in that environment, and his mom having a business, and him helping his mom out, and then all of a sudden he gets all these roles, and he's doing this and that, and then all of a sudden, he just thought, I don't see it. It's not because I refuse to. It's just certain things don't add up. It's like me, God forbid. It's like me. I mean, it's like me being a threat to somebody or somewhere, and then my wife or kids, God forbid, is getting this phone call saying, "Hey, yeah, your husband, expired in a car accident, and there's alcohol in his, and there's alcohol in his system." My family will go crazy, from friends to family to my wife and kids. Everybody know. Somebody did something. There's no way in hell, because this guy, everybody knows I don't drink. I don't even drink on occasions. So it's just certain things that are not just suspect. It just not only doesn't it doesn't add up. It's just there's no way, unless it was altered and unless that person was forced or somebody hit something, and that was the outcome. And that's personally the way I feel about the whole Michael K. Williams thing. Now, I don't know if anybody remember me speaking about him in past videos or whatnot, but I did bring the attention of that up a couple of times in old videos. I may have some still up here, I may not, but anybody who knows him personally, whatever, may see this video or be told about this video and be like, yeah, I can concur what this dude is saying. My name is Michael, as well as his. So we shared that. He shared the name of my kids. Mikey don't remember because Mikey at the time, this is what, 2003 or 4. So Mikey must have been like, what, 3 or 4 years old, which means Michelle was about 5 or 6 at this time. So Michelle was always a year and a half, 2 years older than him. So I don't think neither one of them remember him. But, God rest his soul. But, a lot of people that worked with his mom, including his mom and himself, I mean, I could walk down the street, and if I just saw Michael, I'd be like, "Hey, what's up, brother? You don't remember me?" And I'm pretty sure the kind of person he might say you look familiar. He may not have, but if I mentioned where I knew him from, I would get nothing but love from the dude, and he'll probably take my number. And I mean, that's the kind of person he was, because we did exchange numbers before. He had my wife's number, of course, because my wife was the one that still to this day deals with more money in the house than I do, which means that I'm the one I hand over and she disposes it of whatever. So she had that rapport with with him and his mom. But whenever I dealt with the mom and me always had good conversations, which is weird because his mom was known in that neighborhood for not being the kind of person you take lightly. Not on a threatening, disrespectful way, but on some, your kids come here, we feed your kids, we take care of your kids, we wipe your kids' backsides, we make sure they're good, we make sure that they have, they deal with the same etiquette that whatever. Anyway, so, I'm providing a service. I don't want to be taken advantage of, but I understand if things are a little rough and hard, let me know in advance. But at the same time, this is a business, not a friendship. That was his mom. I understood that. And, me and him had plenty of conversations about the neighborhood and this, that, and the third and whatnot. And, he was just an outstanding guy, man. We had a lot in common, He liked, he liked comics and toys and stuff. I like comics and toys. We both were into movies. I did a couple of things with Michael O'Malley's agency years ago, but it was like tip-tap nonsense compared to the level he was on and the level I actually was at. But, we've had a lot of conversations where and I was just talking to my wife about 2.5, 3 hours ago, like, yo, this is crazy. And she knew for a couple of days. She just thought I knew, and she really doesn't want to talk about it, And I understand because she had a good rapport with him, and, he was an outstanding dude. But, my phone, I left my phone when we went to get something to eat at this one spot we know called Natural Start over here in East Orange on Sunday. And I was exhausted because I basically didn't go to sleep for over 24 hours. And we went to get something to eat, and then I came back to take a shower and everything. After I ate, I'm like, wait a minute, where's my phone? And then that's when I got a phone call from my daughter because I think my mom tried to call me, and somebody picked up and said, yeah, he left the phone. So Michelle got in touch with my wife. My wife got in touch with me. But by that time, they already closed. And since they weren't open yesterday for the Labor Day weekend holiday thingy, I got my phone this morning. And after I charged it, I saw something said, a wire active passed away. And I'm like, I ain't gonna be nobody I know. And later on, I was looking through Facebook, and you know how a lot of the breaking news stuff come up. And I'm like, yo, my mouth dropped like a cartoon, and I almost went into tears. Like, you gotta be shitting me. Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, a lot of these brothers and sisters out here just can't catch a break. I was just so upset, and I'm more upset at the fact that I just don't want to believe that there was. I just can't see. I can't, and I couldn't allow myself to understand. I can't see it. I cannot see this, bro. I can't see it. I refuse to see it. All the stuff this guy went through in his life, just to turn around and this happens, and if I don't even want to think about it. I just don't. I just refuse to believe it. But I don't know. I just wanted to share that on YouTube. About the kind of person he was. I call a spade a spade. So he was just an outstanding person. There's a lot of people out there that has done things and whatnot. I'm not. This guy can't defend himself. And I don't know what trials and tribulations he or anyone has gone through to where I don't even want to say that. I just can't believe it. And if there's more into it to where it was self-destructive or he got hooked on something or whatever, and whatever it is, Godspeed to him, and he's not suffering anymore. I really feel for his daughter, and I feel for his family and his loved ones, and he definitely made a good and huge impact on my family's life because him and his mom took care of my kids, and I'm trying to understand why my body feels like this, and why my shoulders, and I just realized that. Well, I'm like, why is this shoulder down? This one isn't. That's weird. Huh. I never noticed that. Okay. So this is the left, so this is the right. Maybe that makes sense because I did have shoulder surgery. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. I just noticed that right now. Look at the camera because I'm really concentrating on myself as I'm talking because I don't want to break down. And the reason why I mean, yeah, I understand. I didn't know him as an actor and how big he was coming up. Like I said, the brother was in a lot of movies, man. He was in a lot of movies. He had a lot of cameos, and I was just like, yo, man. I would just sit back and I'd be like, yo, look at this. Like, yo, I know this dude, man. Like, this dude used to talk to my kid. Like, this dude used to babysit my kids. Like, his mom had her own daycare. Not only just in the ghetto, but in one of the worst parts of Brooklyn, let alone one of the worst parts of Flatbush. In this development called Vanderveer, and his mom had a business there. Not only that, but my dude made it, and he's in movies now. Like, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And I'll just sit back proud, like, and at 54 years old, he's gone. Like, this is crazy. Like I said, I didn't break bread with him. We didn't get on the phone and have these phone conversations. I haven't seen this guy or heard from him or anything since 2003 or 4. And some of y'all might be like, oh, that's a long time. It doesn't matter. The whole point of the matter is this man and his mom, this man and his family had a nice, great impact on my kids. His mom took care of my kids like they were hers, like she did for the whole community, for anybody who could afford and or who were part of her daycare family. And this man helped with the bills. He helped deal with money with his mom. He took care of his mom's business when she wasn't and or wasn't there. He dealt with a lot of the financial aspects of the business as well as everything else, like somebody in a managerial position. Because his mom was a director. Everything was under her name. She was licensed through the state and city of New York. And her son was there helping her out along with other staff members. And again, I've had conversations with this dude as well as my wife. And, we've dealt with his family on a lot more than just, everything was personal. It was business as far as, hey, I provide a service, you pay me. But at the same time, we've had a lot of personal. It's just crazy. The guy, Michael is gone, and it's like I'm not going to sit here and say a lot, but I can definitely tell you that. I shared a lot of stuff with this dude. Like, we had a lot of personal conversations in front of his mom, outside, at the corner of New York and Foster Avenue. Right there at the corner of the light where the blue mail bin was, where you put the mail in, whatever you call that thing. His mom's daycare was right there, right inside that building. Right there you can go down a ramp. You have the laundry room there, the mail room there, where you pick up your packages and mail packages out. It's just crazy. And when I say there was a laundry room, that laundry room was for the whole development. But we never had to worry about dealing with the laundry room because we had our own washer and dryer. Anyway, you couldn't catch me down there with 3 of my friends with 8 guns in that laundry room. But I just but anyway, it was regardless of how tough it was over in Vanderveer, man. It was something else, man. It was definitely something else, man. I always felt safe there. All 4 of my vehicles were parked under our building in the in the underground parking. I used to be down there all the time washing my cars for hours because they had a water hose and you could wash your car down there. I had 4 spots. I had 2 cars at the time right there, and I have both my motorcycles as well. So I actually have 4 spots there, and I never had to worry about nothing missing. I always covered my bikes up, and cars right next to them. It was great, man. It was, like, I just can't believe he's gone. Like, I'm actually, bringing up a whole bunch of memories as I'm talking about this. Like, there's a lot of areas that, when you grow up and you live in certain areas and stuff, you're just like, But that was an area where it was just different. You know, we had a lot of conversations because, you know, we spoke, like I said, we spoke about a lot of stuff, and everything from collectibles to, like I said, to acting, to, you know, life and the environment, what goes on in the environment, what goes on in life, just so much. So much. I've had spoken with this guy. Every time we cheat, so I'd be like, what's up, Mikey? And I'd be like, what's going on, Michael? Because he called my son Mikey. And he called me that too. And, you know, again, I didn't talk to him as much as my wife did, but every time I did have a glance to talk to him and speak to him or his mom, I would. And, you know, it was always fruitful. And I'm not just saying that because he passed away and he made a name for himself and he became a well-known actor, but I'm saying it because it is what it is. You know, this is a guy that I knew before his career. I knew him personally, and, you know, I just want to, you know, give a shout out to, you know, saying to his family, to the Williamses, and all the other family members and close friends and loved ones that knew him personally, even on a more personal and intimate level than me and my family did. You know, Godspeed to him. May he sleep and rest in peace. And, you know, for those out there, please don't judge the brother because, you know, you don't want to be judged. And I knew this guy. Like, from my interactions and being in that environment, I just don't see it. I don't understand or see it, especially for him to get this far in life. But, you know, things happen all the time. But anyway, I just want to celebrate his life. I don't really want to go into details on wondering and even caring what and how he passed. Just the fact that, you know, he's no longer dealing with whatever stuff that a lot of us out here deal with and had to fight to deal with. You know, again, to Michael K. Williams, my brother, rest in peace to you, man. He was a great dude, man. And to his family, and if his Mama Williams, if you're still around, man, Godspeed to you. I love you, and I know you probably don't remember me because I lost a lot of weight, and now I'm going bald, and I have this thick beard, but you probably remember Marjorie. You know, that's my wife's name, and, you know, we had, you know, it was Marjorie, Michelle, and Mikey. You know, I'm pretty sure, maybe she does, maybe she don't. I mean, you know, this woman dealt with hundreds to probably over 1,000 children, and God knows how many years she's been there. You know what I mean? So one never knows, man. But anyway, you know, Godspeed to everybody, and I just wish, you know, his family, I just wish the healing factor, you know, is as graceful and peaceful as it can be. I lost my brother this year. I lost my brother, my older brother at that, one of the twins. Not my twin. I wasn't a twin, but one of the twins. In April 12th, I got that eerie phone call from my mom on the phone crying. So when she called me that early, I knew something was wrong. And when I said, because normally I say yo or what's good or something like that, and the way she said my name, I knew. I already knew. And but it doesn't get any. I can't sit here and say it gets easier because I'd be lying if I said that because I'm still going through it. There's days and it could be a cartoon. It could be one of these G.I. Joe figures. It could be anything that triggers that. Because my brothers, him and my other brother, they were never really big into toys or video games like that. But if I had it, they'll play it and they'll play it with me. But it's sad. It's sad that this guy, you know, life came to an end so while he was, I would say, while he was in his prime of being set. It's just crazy. I mean, a guy that I knew got so much respect and love out there from people. I mean, people are people, but it just goes to show, just like, yo, life is not a promise to anybody, but at the same time, you never know what stardom and what life has in store for you. This guy went from being around roaches and rats. I said rats. Roaches and rats. In a nowhere area of Flatbush, Brooklyn. His mom had I don't know if she still has it, but his mom ran a business that she was licensed to the state to deal with and care for people's children. To her son following his dream, not only having that scar on his face, because let's face it, Hollywood is crazy. Hollywood is weird how you have to have a certain appearance. But this guy went through all the stuff he went through, not only to play roles like Omar on The Wire, but to get roles like Alex Murphy's partner in the reboot of RoboCop. So many other roles that was significant to him playing other things that you can look through his appearance, his facial appearance, and get the raw acting and see him as a person, not just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't explain it, but man, I gotta go, because I could be up here talking up until 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, but it'll just be like a broken record, you know, being repetitive, because like I said, I didn't really know him outside of our conversations that we've had, and we've had enough to have respect and know each other for what we had. But like I said, it's not like I called him up and like, hey, what's up, Mike? Let's go hang out. It wasn't like that. You know what I mean? But I've had enough conversations to judge and have the characteristics of knowing he was a good dude. You know, this was a guy that you never had to worry about him. You never had to worry about your children. You know, he was respectful and he treated kids. He was a very unique, special person. That's all I can say. And you know, I want to end this now before I start, you know, getting emotional, man. But Godspeed to the brother. And like I said, you don't have to know a person all day, every day to know the kind of person they are. And like I said, he touched my heart and he touched my family's heart, my wife and my kids' heart for years, because, you know, he was part of that big brother, uncle thing. Even though his mom got a check from us every week, that didn't matter. The whole point of the matter is he was there helping his mom out, and he was a great, outstanding guy, and he had this big brother, uncle thing with all kids, and even with other parents. And he was just that dude, man. So, you know, I'm about to get choked up now. Peace out, brother, and, you know, Godspeed to you, and, you know, my condolences to the families, man. Peace.